Morning. Hello there. Hello, and welcome to Morning Light. My name is Lee Cara, and I am so glad to see you here. Here at Morning Light, we like to take a few moments every single day to connect directly with divine, to embrace that connection, to shine our light outwards, and to purposefully connect through self-awareness and through the collective with that divine, to shift creation, to shift reality, to manifest and change the frequency of how the earth is right now. So if it's not morning where you are, it is morning somewhere. I am not a person who likes to get up early. I am not a person who enjoys the crack of dawn, the ass crack of dawn, as they say. So I have a distinct tendency to sleep in. So for me, morning is whenever it is. And because people watch from all over the world, where you are, it might be morning right now, or maybe not. You can always watch these in the morning, though, on the replay, because they're just as powerful. Everything that we do here at Morning Light, you can do on your own. And when you connect, all time happens all the time. So when we pray together, we are really praying together. When we meditate together, we are truly meditating together. So what do we do here? What's the agenda? What's going to move on? This is so those of you who want to watch. Hi there. I'm live. Those are so that those of you who want to watch all the way through can watch all the way through. But those of you who just want a little taste, a little moment, maybe 5 or 10 minutes where you can connect and meditate and divine and do a little thing. Here's what our agenda is. We're going to start out by turning on our light for the day, where we connect with divine deep within us and get ourselves ready to have that flow, that zone going all day long, so that we can really access it and like up level and unlock our life, unleash our light, if you will. Then we're going to shine our light out. When we do this, I pick a general topic for us to shine outwards and to wrap our arms around and to just drench in love and unconditional love and joy and empathy into this topic that we're discussing. Then we're going to chat for just a moment. I always have a little cuppa here. So, get your own little cuppa. Put me on pause for a minute and go get your own little cuppa. We're going to draw a rune for the day. I have been drawing runes since 1993. And so we're going to draw a rune for the day. And then the next thing we're going to do is diffuse the news. So I like to pick a topic in the news. We don't discuss right and wrong. We don't say which one is the good way, which one is the wrong way, which are bad, which are good. What we're trying to do is to look at the topic and to diffuse it or transmute it. We want to inject unconditional love into both sides of whatever situation is happening, because those who are perpetrating acts of evil or hatred or anger need our divine injection more than most. So it's not easy work. It's not for everyone. If that's not your thing, that's okay. You don't have to. You can wander off for 10 minutes or so while I discuss that. Then we're going to do some live readings. So if you want to stick around for the live readings, you are certainly welcome to. But of course, if you want to come back, I would think probably half an hour. I'm going to be doing the live views by the time I get into it. So I am so grateful to have you here. I am excited to jump into our agenda for the day. Let's turn on our light. What we're going to start with here is we're going to start with what we do. Okay, so Unleash Your Light is about overcoming our own emotional obstacles and looking inward. Morning Light is about shining that light outwards. We're going to change the world by shifting our own perspective, seeing ourselves and others through divine light. Because how you look at a thing changes a thing. And that's not just a mental thing, that's an actual scientific principle. There's an Einstein thing about a thing that is changed by the observer. And so if that is scientific, then we can change by observing the world and how we observe it, how we look at it. Just by shifting how we see something or someone, then we can change that thing in our eyes and in the eyes of the world. All right. Let's talk about divine for a minute. What do I mean when I say divine? Divine, light, creator, source, God. Doesn't make a difference. Call it whatever you like. As long as you are seeking, it does not make one bit a difference. It is the energy of life. It is the spark of creation. It is the thing that makes everything in your brain works. It's the electricity that runs your brain. It's the energy of life. A Mobius strip of pure unconditional love continuously fueling this experience that we call life. Light, God, Gaia, creator is frequency. It's energy. It's all energy. And because of that energy cannot be created or destroyed. And so because of that, we are a piece of that energy. We are each the whole playing our individual roles in this story of life. We each carry a direct line to that divine frequency simply by turning on our joy and allowing it to shine from within us. That light, God, is unconditional love. It's love without conditions. It's like, to put it in earthly terms, the deepest mother's love times infinity through intense self-love. As we love ourself, we are worshiping at the altar of our own creation. Unconditional love is love without conditions. This is the type of love that Creator has for us, that we have for ourselves. It is the mother's love, pure, without the mother's trauma. I know a lot of us didn't have mothers that were necessarily the best at giving love, and yet we all understand the concept of love. So what we're going to do now, we are going to turn on our light. We're going to take just a moment. We are going to connect directly with that divine. It dwells within you, whether you have a Christian base of belief, whether you are a person who is spiritual, whether you believe in nothing, there is electricity and energy in your body. And that energy is divine. It is the thing that gives life. So whether you think of it as religious or whether you think of it as a scientific thing, it is life within us, that energy, and its frequency is unconditional love. We are the creation of the Creator, and we are the Creator who created us. So let's turn on our light. So a lot of people may not understand what unconditional love actually feels like. So that's what I really want to focus on while we turn on our light. Okay? So I want you to take a really deep breath wherever you are, and take a deep breath in and let it come out. And I just want you to take a second to sink into right where you are. And as you're doing that, I also want you to shift into the observer position if you're familiar with what that is. Just take a moment to be just a little bit above where you are. You don't feel the seat under you. You don't necessarily feel the world around you, but you're still aware that you're sitting. So we're just going to take this deep breath, all right? Now, unconditional love is an energy that is beyond words. It is a joy that comes beyond the space of the 3D world. And the closest thing that gets us there on this planet is joy, awestruck joy. Like when you see a puppy, like when you see a baby, like when you see something that just makes you go, and you just get so joyous. It takes you to a moment beyond words. It gives you goosebumps to connect in that deep of a way. Hello from Alaska. When you connect in that way to that, That moment is unconditional love. That moment is the moment that we connect to divine. That moment is the moment that we are as close to divine as we can be until we get better at it. So think of that moment. And once you get that joy and those tingles or that goosebumpy feeling beyond words, and it might only be for a few seconds, stay in that feeling as much as you can. Stay there in that space, feeling that joy. Bring the feeling up over and over again, even if it's just for a second, to get a hit of that unconditional love and joy. Now, some of you, as you get better at this, you'll be able to do this longer and longer. You might even need to pause the video and do it for 10 or 20 minutes. So you're going to take that space. I want you to sit in that space. We're going to look at that puppy or that kitten or whatever it is that makes you take away your breath, that beautiful vista, that scenery. Now, as we do that, the next time that you do that, I want you to see yourself being filled with golden light, just sparkling like the sparks of electricity shooting off of you. And we're going to visualize that getting brighter and brighter within your body, and it shines out into the room you're in, and it shines out into the home, the building you're in, or the park you're sitting in, and it shines out into your neighborhood, and you shine that light out into the entire town and out into your city and into your state or your country or your province, until that light you are visualizing encompasses the entire world. Now sit in this light of seeing our globe with its beautiful blue and green sea superimposed with the golden light of divine. And take another moment to feel that unconditional love as you visualize that. And see it shine outwards into the universe. So now that your light is on for the day, thank you, that Alaskan guy. Now that your lives are on for the day, let's take a moment to shine that light, okay? So the first thing we do, we turn on our light. Our light is on. Our light is on and shining. Today's issue, we are going to talk about hunger. I'm choosing things that are a little bit more apart from ourselves because we're kind of at the beginning of this journey. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on hunger. There is still famine in countries in Africa. There is still food insecurity in Asian countries, in America, in European countries. It's very bad all over the world. There is still hunger, and it is something that we don't focus on very often. So what I'd like for us to do right now is to just take a moment and picture in your mind one hungry child. This hungry child is representative of every hungry child on the planet. Maybe you can populate a room with them. Maybe you can populate an entire house with them. Maybe your visualization is so advanced that you can literally see them all where they are. And I want you to picture yourself in that space. Love that child. Love that person who is hungry. I want you to enjoy giving them a big hug and telling them that they are full. In your mind, create an entire meal for them. Serve them. Sit with them. Eat with them. Now let's turn towards why they're hungry. Are they hungry because of war? Are they hungry because of greed? Are they hungry because of racism? Are they hungry because of poverty? Are these things perpetrated by people? Are they perpetrated by world events? And what we want to do is we want to shift our light to that. Any people, any persons, any organizations who are involved in creating food insecurity, who are involved in creating hunger, we take a moment to shine our light on you. We hope that you will heal your heart. We know that divine can heal your heart and turn this around. We know that change starts one heart at a time, one person at a time, one thought, one action at a time. May divine fill your heart and shift your actions to one of love. And now we're going to visualize a world where there is no hunger, there is no famine. And we're going to take that very clear image of a world without famine, without hunger, without the poverty and greed that create those spaces. And we're going to superimpose that beautiful world with Mother Nature thriving, with people full of compassion and love for each other. We're going to superimpose it right over top of our 3D world. Abraham Hicks often says that you have to live in the world that you are creating rather than the world that you see around you. So by doing this, we are manifesting reality. We are affecting change all around us. We're going to hold that image of a beautiful utopian earth with opportunity and rights and freedom and food for all. Let's take another deep breath as we release that. Come back to where we are. We'll keep our light on all day and know that you can jump back into this anytime that you need to. You can just take a moment, take 30 seconds, and grab that unconditional love. Okay, so for those of you who were here for the morning turn on, we're going to go ahead and jump into our next little thing here. We're going to chit chat. We're going to take a moment to let us loosen up after that. I'm going to go back over here where I can see comments. Hopefully they will be working. Let's take a look and see if there's anybody here who wants to say hello. Chitty chat. Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me about your day, how you've been feeling. I know that the energies right now, we're in like multiple retrogrades, if that sort of stuff affects you. So you definitely need to be paying attention to it. All right. So if you're out there, you want to chitty chat a little bit, tell me what's going on with you. I know school just went back in a lot of places. I'm feeling definitely a little off balance because this is my first year without a child going back to school. You know, it's been this retrograde has really been an energy of all of us kind of seeing our patterns very clearly again. For me, they have been thrown in my face over and over again, uncovering new stuff, as well as digging deeply into the stuff that was already there and seeing how it all kind of connects. I think that this retrograde is really, for those who are willing to be incredibly self-aware, I really think that this is going to grow in such a huge way your own space of understanding in yourself. I know it's doing that for me. I know that I'm seeing myself more clearly than I ever have. At 52, I'm now seeing myself more clearly than I ever have. And one of the things that I notice a lot on this journey is that every time I think I've gotten to a place where I have a handle on stuff, the universe kind of goes, not quite. You know, so that's kind of the space that we're all sitting in all the time, but it's definitely amped up a little bit deeper here during these retrogrades. And I really think that those who grab this and use the energy of the retrograde to build a strong structure, build a strong routine, build a strong foundation within themselves of that unconditional love and that self-awareness, I think that's going to like be the key to using these retrogrades really for our own benefit. I think it ends the first week of October or so. So whatever's going on with you, look at it as rebuilding, not destruction. Sometimes we have to tear things down to rebuild, like a tower moment. I wouldn't call this quite a tower moment, but we're definitely in the space where we're digging through the rubble of the tower that has already fallen, right? All right, let's jump into, I believe we're doing the rune of the day next. So let's jump in here and grab a rune. Let's see here now. Oh, I went one screen too far. There we go. All right. So the rune of the day. Excuse me. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with runes, I use these runes. This book was written in 1993, and not everyone likes it, but I've been using it since then, and I love it. So a rune is going to give us the overall energy of the day. They kind of connect with self-focused issues that we can shift and change. And just as we were talking about, I got Manaz. And let me switch this so that you can see it better here on the main screen. Ding, ding. This is only my second time using melon. If y'all want to use melon, I'm going to put a link in the description afterwards so you can use it. This is Manaz, although it is missing a leg. Evidently here it fell off. So this is Manaz. Now, Manaz is a very interesting rune. It is the rune of self. It is the rune of like that knowing within oneself and that creation. Let's take a look at what it says. The interesting thing about Manaz is that within its shape, it holds many other shapes within it. Let me see. Oh, I'm on the wrong one here. Ding, ding. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There we go. Come on now. Love me. Okay, there we go. Sorry. It's new technology here for me. So this is our Manaz. It's supposed to look like an M. Evidently, the other side is gone. I have to repaint that one. So we have the self. So if you look at this shape, you can see in it an M. Here, I'm on the wrong side, aren't I? You can see in that shape an M, which is for movement. You can see Degaz, which is the gateway. You can also see Isa, 2 of them, which is isolation. So really, it's talking about starting with yourself. The starting point is self, and its essence is water and flow. And only clarity and willingness to change is effective in this moment. Correct relationship with yourself is primary because from it flow all other possible right relationships with others and with divine. Strive to live ordinary life in a non-ordinary way. Be in the world, but not of it. So really, this ties into what we were just talking about with this space where it's rebuilding, right? This space of the retrogrades where we've had these kind of tower moments and these things happen that are showing us over and over again, the spaces that we have not yet healed, the spaces that still carry pain, the spaces that are still carrying things that need to be pushed aside. The only way to do that is within. Everything that happens to us, while it may happen from an external source, it is happening because of within us, something that was created before we were born, something that was created in our childhood, some experience that we wanted to go to, needed to go through. And I know that this is a very delicate topic because a lot of people who have been through abuse or things of that nature will say, why would I ever ask for this? I would never ask to do this. So I want for a moment for you to think of your life as a play or a movie. And right now you are the lead player in that movie. But what you also have to recognize that you are secondary player in other people's movies. And so sometimes there are things that happen to us that may happen because you needed to play a part in someone else's story. And I believe wholeheartedly that we agree to that. I believe that we agree to that before we're born, these scripts, these moments, these storylines that we want to live out. We are literally expanding the knowledge and consciousness of the universe by the lives that we live because the universe, God, the light, is enjoying that. Always enjoy being read to. I hope my sarcasm came through. I'm reading a live comment over here. The person wrote, oh my, more bullshit, paganism, or maybe into demonology. I'm not into demonology. I believe in love and light, and I actually believe that all of that is created from the same source, divine. So it's not quite the same thing, but I like that you came and commented. I'm all love and light. There is darkness, there is shadows, but they're within ourselves. And part of our role here, if we're in a play and we're in a movie, we recognize that this is all an illusion, and then we agree to play along. And so that's this space that we're in. When we grab this rune of self, it is us being the lead actor in our own story and being co-stars with everyone around us. And so a lot of times we can shift our perspective on what we're going through just by shifting our perspective on how we fit into other people's story. So, all right, let's jump into the next part. This is going to be difficult for some people. This is going to be very, very difficult, actually, for some people. And I totally get it. And if you need to turn off, go for it. Turn off. It's okay. I won't feel bad at all. If you actually want to work on this stuff and it gets too difficult for you, come back later. Save it. Anything that gives you a strong reaction is a space within you that still needs some work. It still needs some help. It still needs some love and attention from you. So pay attention to that. Oh, I'm not a yeller. I'm just loud. Although I do have yeller all around me. See, look, yeller here, yeller over here. It's kind of my thing. Okay. So how we think about and look at an issue can shift reality. Now, some people may not quite understand this or believe it, but really the way that we look at an issue changes it. And if you just look back to when I was in high school, looking at, I don't know, LGBTQ issues, it was very different in the 80s than it is now. And it's not that people have changed or there's more gay people or less gay people. It's that our opinion of gay people shifted over the years to a more accepting and tolerant society to a point. And because of that, it's literally how we think about that issue that changed it. It wasn't because of anything specific that happened. It was literally one person's mind changing, and then the next person's mind changing, and then the next person's mind changing, and then the next person's mind changing. You know, so that is the space that we can shift reality, because our minds are the first ones to change. So we're going to take a look at different stories in the news and actively diffuse the story through unconditional love, through divine perspective. Now, we won't actively be debating right and wrong. We're going to focus on the light and shining that on the wounds of the world and focusing on their healing, as well as healing the part within ourself that reacts to what's going on in the news, the part within ourself that gets angry or gets, frustrated or hateful or offended. This person is offended because I'm loud and I'm yelly. They beg to differ. Yelling is disrespectful and abuse. I'm not abusing anyone. But if you feel abused, I apologize. Feel free to leave. You're certainly welcome to find a safer space for you. I am about to step into something that's a little bit difficult. So once again, if this is not your cup of tea, with love and light, you're welcome to shift into another space. Maybe look at some kitten videos. I love kitten videos. Okay, warning. This work is not for the faint of heart. It requires a willingness to embrace the sins of the world as our own, love the perpetrators beyond the 3D reality. So every single person is connected to divine. Every single person carries divine within their heart, carries a piece of God with them. Every religion says that we carry a piece of divine within us. And that piece of divine is in every single human on this planet. And so that means that every single person who is doing bad acts, evil acts, that is perpetrating abuse, anger, hatred, violence, all of those things, has a piece of God in them, has a piece of light within them that they're carrying around, that is watching them do all of this and probably constantly in their ear with a conscience asking them not to, right? So that is what we're going to focus on with Diffuse the News. And again, I'm starting very light. I don't want to get too deep. We're only episode 2, y'all. We're only episode 2. But the topic that we're going to talk about is I'm going to connect it to the thing that we diffused, that we shone our light on in the beginning, which is hunger. Okay. So I want us to think for a moment and to look for a moment and to really pay attention to the issue of hunger and how we look at it. It's not necessarily what's right or what's wrong. This is no judgment against you. I don't know you personally like that. I don't know how you feel about hunger. This is no shade, no judgment. It all comes from a space of unconditional love self-awareness and shifting the perspective that we're in so that we can have a little bit more of a handle, maybe a lot more, on unconditional love. So I want us to think about hunger. I want you to think about hunger within your mind. I want you to think about what it feels like when you're hungry. And if you've ever gone hungry and how that felt. And not just physically felt, but how it emotionally felt. How it affected your view of who you are. How it affected your view of the world around you. Maybe you've been lucky and you've never really experienced true hunger. But if you can imagine it for a moment, let's expand that. So children all over the world are hungry, and they obviously are not responsible for their own food yet. So it is obviously adults who are doing this, who are creating these conditions, and who are shifting these spaces in places like Nigeria and Yemen and Sudan, and there's 2 or 3 more where there's literally right this moment as we speak famine right now because of wars, government stuff, politics, droughts. Now, I grew up in the 80s. I was in high school. I grew up in the 70s, really. I was in high school in the 80s. And in the 80s, we had this big thing called Live Aid. And most people only know about Live Aid because of Freddie Mercury, because of Queen, and that big performance, because it's really popular, like on YouTube, and the movie came out recently. But Live Aid was a very huge effort to address the famine that was happening in Africa. And again, then it was political issues, it was violence, and it was drought, and it was, environmental issues. So we know that this is happening. There are places in the United States where kids go hungry. One of the problems with when the coronavirus was going on and we had the lockdown was that a lot of kids got a big chunk of their food from schools. And so because of that, getting their food from schools, when the schools closed down, they were missing 2 meals a day because they ate breakfast and lunch. And it put a lot of stress on their homes. Now, some of you right now might be saying, well, their parents are to blame and they should have done this, or they should have done that, or they should be working, or they should be. And I understand all of that, and you can get very mad at those people if you want to. But let's take a moment. You can get mad at the people who are in charge in Africa, in charge in Asia, who allow this kind of poverty, who allow this kind of thing to happen. But those are the people that we want to focus on right now. Right now. Okay? So you may have a lot of anger towards them or frustration. You may not understand why they're doing it. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a moment to think about this. To think about this really deeply. These people all have a piece of God within them. These people are all connected to divine light. And you are connected to divine light. So right now, I want you to just take a moment and shift your perspective. These are people who were once children, and those children were hurt. And now they grow up as adults, and they hurt children, and they hurt themselves, and they hurt grown-ups because they were hurt as children. But most people don't recognize that. They don't recognize that their anger and their greed and their hatred comes from injuries and wounds as children. And then they pass that on to the next generation. And what we want to do is send empathy to that person. The people who are filled with greed and anger and don't care whether kids eat and don't care whether they have enough and say they should pull themselves up by their bootstraps and it's their parents' fault. I want to think about their parents. I want to think about those who point the finger, and I want to focus on those who are perpetrating anger, violence, hate that is preventing people from addressing famine and hunger, and see their piece of God I want us to look into the heart of the perpetrator and see the peace of God and love it. See the little child that they are hiding in there, and put your arms around that. I know that divine will heal you. I pray that divine will open your heart to healing, will open your heart to remove the pain and to allow you to shift your behavior and your attitudes and in your thinking here on this planet, to embrace love and joy, empathy and kindness and compassion for others. All right. Beautiful. So we have diffused the news. And now if there is anyone still here, because the news always runs people off, I'm willing to do some live tarot and rune readings. If you want a reading, you can type open in the comments and ask a question if you want, but you don't have to ask any question. In fact, I kind of prefer that you don't ask a question, but if you want a live reading, now is the time to jump in and ask for one. So let's come on over here. I am going to do a rune for the room as we start this. Or a card. Pull a little reading for the room. If you are watching on the replay, this is for you. If you're here right now, this is for you. Let's see what goes along with that menaz that we pulled as our rune of the day. How can we embrace that menaz that we pulled as the rune of the day? How can we embrace and support that menaz in this crazy retrograde time? Okay. Oh, there we go. It's a flying. All right. And what we come up with is the Magician. And anyone who is interested, this is a vintage deck from the 80s. So this is the Magician. So when you put the Magician together with the self, you're really talking about manifestation. You're really talking about that space within you where you are creating something new, where you are creating a change in the world around you, a change in the atmosphere around you, and you are literally creating your reality. I believe that each one of us came here to do that. And I believe that through that, we make a greater connection with divine, which is our point here. Let's go back to the chat. So if you want a reading, you are welcome to type open in the comments. I'm going to pull one more card while we see if anybody wants a reading. Probably if I did these at the beginning of the show, people might be a little bit interested, but that's okay. So we're going to pull one more rune about that menaz. All right. And we ended up with double threes. Double threes. So the question that I was asking for the room is about supporting that journey that we're on, that journey of self, that journey of picking up the pieces after a tower moment, of digging through the pieces of our past, the shadow parts, whatever you like to call them, and really using them to shift reality now, using them to see the perspective where we were, where we are, what the patterns are. That is the strength of the menaz, and it is the support astrologically that we are having right now in this retrograde. So I was asking how we can support that. So we had the Magician, which is about creating a reality. We have the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is about heartbreak. And the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is a foundation. Pentacles tend to be about money, stability. And so Three of Pentacles is about building a strong foundation. So we want to heal the space where you have plunged three swords into your own heart, or where others have plunged a sword into your heart. We want to shift into a space of stability with that three-legged table. We want to have that foundation to build on, which is exactly what this space of the retrograde is asking us to do, to build, to shift, to change our perspective on where we are, on who we are. I'll do you one better on why we are. That was a Guardians of the Galaxy reference. I don't know how many of you guys will get that, but all right. So I don't see anyone jumping in for readings. I'm so grateful that you guys are here with me. Let's go to the final pages of this, okay? All right. I'm so grateful that you guys joined me this morning. I'm going to be here a couple days a week. I don't have a specific schedule. I'm just going to jump in here. I'm going to do the little morning light. Let's get turned on. Let's shine our light out all over the world and change the world by being the change within ourselves. If you want more information, you can always go to unleashyourlight.org. It's like a clearinghouse of information. I have well over 200 videos on YouTube. I have free spiritual texts on Unleash Your Light, as well as books that I've written and blog posts. I Unleash Your Light, Lee Cara, me. I'm dedicated to bring a message from the universe of unconditional love and connection with divine. I will never put my message behind a paywall. I will never put my lessons behind a paywall. If you want a reading, you are free to reach out, but that means that I only do readings for people that the universe tells me to. I will do this very often where I do free readings. I do accept tips, but I will not charge. If you want to sign up for the website with a newsletter, I have a lot of new things coming, and I'll be able to let you know. If you want to really support Unleash Your Light, Morning Light, the show, go to the website. Read some articles, sign up for the newsletter, watch some videos, scroll through the ads, click on an affiliate link, download something for free. That's all free stuff that you can do to support me and to, shine your light. To shine your light out into the world. Let's keep doing it because you are beloved. You matter. And you are so very loved.